everybody, thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet. I just designed it yesterday and I love this bracelet. And I'm hoping to get caught up on more of my tutorial videos. I've been sick for a few weeks and just started feeling better. So I'm looking forward to producing more content. So this bracelet is made with turquoise, a ceramic bead, amazonite, a vintage metal dragonfly, a affirmation word charm, turquoise, and a bead cap. So I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet today. The kit and the bracelet are available in my shop at andria-bieber so you can buy a finished bracelet or the kit so you can design your own version at home. And let's get started. I'm using bead-along wire. I love bead-along products. I have the #1 crimp beads that I use, as well as crimp covers. And for starters, cut off about 9 inches of wire. You want to have extra so you have room to crimp the ends. And if you decide to have a longer than a 7.5 inch bracelet, I would go with 10 inches of wire. That way you have extra to turn in the ends and you're not too short, and then you'd have to start over again. So I've cut off 9 inches of wire, and I'm going to add my wire guard and a crimp bead and a crimp cover. So I start by adding a crimp. Once you get your wire guard established in your crimp bead, you want to crimp down. I'm using the bead-along crimping tool, and you want to press down on your crimp, and it'll be nice and secure, and cut off extra wire. And then add your crimp cover. I'm using a 3mm crimp cover or a 2mm crimp cover. It depends on where you can buy your crimp covers at, but it's really important to find a crimp cover that fits. The 4 and 5mm are typically too large. All right, so once we have that crimped on there, the pattern I'm going to start out with is an amazonite rondelle bead, and I will send 3 with your kit. If you don't need it, it's okay, don't use it. Depends on what size of bracelet you want. And then I will be using the 11-0 glass seed bead and another one. This adds a little bit of color as well as length and texture to the bracelet. If you decide you don't want 2 of them, you can go right to their turquoise bead and then add either a metal spacer bead. I add extras in the kit, or the 11-0 glass seed bead. And then you want to do another amazonite. And then next we're going to add our spacer beads and add the ceramic bead next. And another rondelle spacer bead. And next we're going to add the tulip bead cap. So for this one, I'm using a small flower bead cap, and then another filigree bead cap, and I'm attaching it to the larger tulip bead cap. And this kind of helps cover up the hole and also makes it look a little bit prettier to have that on there. And I slide my wire through the center. So now you have this large, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here, this large hole in the middle. And you don't want your wire wrapped beads to fall in there and make a mess. So I fill that center bead with some spacer beads to help bring it up closer to the top. And I just use whatever spacer beads I have laying around that are the same metal color. And I need one more. So I don't want it completely at the top of the tulip because I want some beads to kind of sit in the middle of there. It look like they're coming out of the tulip, but I don't want them smashed in there either. So I have a few spacer beads, and next I'm going to add my wire wrapped beads and fill in this space with these. And you can wire wrap as many as you want to have as long as you want here. I have about 25 wire wraps, and these are 4mm beads. I choose to have that many because of the size of the stone, and it's not too bulky. And when I'm finished with this, I will show you how to wire wrap a ball head pin. I'll be right back. So I finished adding all of the wire wrapped beads, and you'll see they kind of lay partially on the inside and on the outside of the tulip bead. And when we finish this off, you want to leave a little bit of space so the beads have room to kind of move around. And not be too tight. If they're too tight, it's not very comfortable on the wrist. And also the bracelet won't bend as well. And we want to have a little bit of fluidity, so I like to have a little bit of space. So next I'm going to grab my crimp bead here and my wire guard, and we're going to close this off. I love wire guards. I'm using bead-along wire guards and crimps. I'm using a number 1 size crimp, and put that in through. Now, when we pull the wire through, again, you want to leave a little bit of space between the crimp and where your beads are. It doesn't need to be a lot, just a little bit, so it has a little bit of motion here. And then take my crimpers, and I'm going to crimp this down and cut off excess wire, and then I will add the crimp cover, and we're done with this portion of the bracelets. Okay, I have my crimp cover on there. I'm going to go ahead and close it with my needle nose pliers, and we're done with this portion of the bracelet. How I wire up on a ball head pin is you have your stone at the end and your pin, and you hold it in your round nose pliers. And I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, I'm going to wrap the pin around down, and I have a loop started. Next, I'm going to take my round nose pliers, put those back in there. And I'm going to keep my pliers rotated at an angle, and I'm going to bring the wire back over the top, and this is going to form a loop. So I'm not straight up or sideways, I'm at an angle. And I go up and around over the top of my round nose pliers to form a loop. So I have my loop, and usually you want your loop with just a little bit of space. This is too much, but I'm on camera, so I get nervous. You want to have just a little bit of space here to make room for your coils to go in between the stone and the base of your loop. So we're just going to go with this one. So you have a couple of coils here underneath your loop and above the stone, and cut off excess wire, and use your chain nose pliers, and you're going to pinch it closed. That way it's flush, and you want to pinch it closed underneath the previous coils. That way it doesn't get caught on anything, and because you had that extra room, it should sit nice and tug in there, and it won't unwire up, and it won't get stuck on anything. And there you go. Here's how I wire up a ball head pin. Next, you want to take the dragonfly pendant. I've pre-coiled this one for a bracelet, but what I do is I take the tail and I wrap it around my round nose pliers, and I form a loop. Next, we're going to take the jump ring. This is a 6mm jump ring, and slide it through the bottom of the dragonfly and turn it into a connector, and connect the bracelet here through the wire guard and close the jump ring. The next step is to attach your charms. We'll have a word charm, another turquoise, and a piece of citron. Using a 10mm jump ring, you want to attach your affirmation word charm. This is going to be the clasp and close, and then attach another jump ring and another one with your lobster clasp, and this is how the bracelet will clasp closed. And there you go, the bracelet is finished. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, this bracelet is for sale in my store as well as the kits, and you can find me online on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest. And you can email me at any time through my website at andria-bieberdesigns.com. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe.